one you sing to, poor bird. The one you
Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz vocalist Michelle Lordi. We spoke with her in late June 2020 about her latest CD, Dream a Little Dream, a grand set of standards that showcases and celebrates legendary Philadelphia jazz masters Larry McKenna and Sonny Troy. She has built a reputation of being a no-nonsense singer with a beautiful sound, and on this new project, she pays proper tribute to Philadelphia's jazz royalty. We talked to her quite a bit about this pandemic world and so much more. Enjoy.
Well, hey, thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sending over the music. I'm looking forward to talking to you about things during a very strange time on planet Earth.
I'm on my way to talk about strange. I'm on my way back to making music tonight. I've got a outdoor session. So
hallelujah.
I'm excited. Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Well,
I've run
and I guess that's the thing about all of this now, you know. There's signs of life that are kind of popping up all over the place. But before we get to that and Dream a Little Dream and what's going on with you musically, talk to me a little bit about when you discovered, maybe in early to mid-March, that the world was going to shut down the way we knew it.
Well, I was kind of right before everything shut down. I had a performance at Birdland. I was at Birdland the night that they shut down Broadway. So we knew, we knew that it was coming, and had no idea how bad this would be and how devastated New York has become. I live in Philadelphia. I'm about 90 minutes from New York. I like to call New York my favorite suburb of Philadelphia. But here in Philadelphia, we were also hit pretty hard with cases of the virus. So it's basically been 3 months of solitude, punctuated with trips to the grocery store, and homeschooling my kid. Taking on the role of teacher for my kids, and continuing to promote. Doing what I could without actually playing any gigs for Break Up with the Sound. So I'm really grateful to talk to you today.
Well, and I've been very grateful to talk to all musicians, and I've been doing this quite a bit since everything kind of shut down. And I think in a very small way for everybody, it's a therapeutic session, because you don't want to feel like the old world's gone, and you want to be hopeful that the new world is going to be one that we can return to. And I think that's what we're probably going to start seeing, especially with you having a gig tonight.
Yeah, well, and with caveats. It's, I have a performance, but not if it rains, and not if the restaurant and bar where I play doesn't do well enough after, they give it a try, and not if the musicians feel uncomfortable, and not if the crowd doesn't show up. So, it does add a whole other layer of unabsolute to a career that is already pretty filled with in-betweens. But I'm really excited to get back to playing music, and I am actually also curating a summer series at a local arts center. So there'll be more music outside. I think that's really, for me right now, live streaming is great. I think that people are a little burnt out right now. And I think that if we can get people outside with distance to hear real live music where there's connection, I think that's a good way to be right now.
I agree. I agree, and I think that there's going to be a level of humans that are going to be tenacious enough to want it, and I think we've all been very thirsty for it for so long. So I think we're going to all find a way to make it work. It's kind of like during the pandemic, everybody made a way to get live streams and all of those things to work. So yeah. I think we probably are going to be in shape. But let's talk about releasing material and promoting material during a pandemic. It has to be bittersweet. What is that like?
Well, it's funny because I'll give you the good side. I mean, you already know the bad side. You already know the bad side. Everybody knows the bad side. But I'll give you one good side, especially for an independent musician. When I went to release my last album, Break Up With The Sound, which features Donnie McCaslin on tenor, Rudy Royston on drums, Matthew Parrish on bass and as producer, and Tim Mosser on guitar and electronics, I had to work that release around our potential tour dates, and of course on my own tour, my own booking agent, and how difficult it is to put tours together. So the one good thing about a pandemic is, as an independent artist, now there's really nothing holding you back from releasing. I mean, you could say, oh, I don't want to release during this time at all, but I don't know how long this time will go. So in my mind, I have 3 or 4 projects, some of them EPs and singles, but I have projects ready that I'm going to release. And I don't have to think about how to do tours, how to support it with a tour. I'm just going to release them. And in a way, for me, it's very freeing because I'm not letting a detail about the business of music get in the way of creating. Because isn't it really what we do? Like, we're creators. We make things. And, you need to be savvy. But at this point, when there is just a lot of, maybe there will be 2 or 3 years of disturbance, maybe more, maybe some of our favorite clubs will never come back. I can't wait for that to be over. I'm just going to make music. And hopefully when things do get, when we do get back to touring, hopefully there will be places to go and people who appreciate the music that we've made in the time.
I make this as a statement, and I think it's interesting, but the statement turns into a question. It's this. I've always, historically, since I've done my interview series, asked musicians here and there, how healthy is jazz in 2013, 2017, 2019? I now, after this pandemic, never have to ask that question again. The amount of gigs that every musician has had to cancel is unbelievable.
But it also, for me, this whole process of having the rug pulled out, I'm going to focus on the good because we all, like I said, we all know the bad. But it also reminded me why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to create. I'm doing it to create with other creators. I'm not doing this for the money. I'd go back, this is not for the money. Of course, we want to be paid, but it's not for the money. It's for the opportunity to play for people who love the music and to play with people who love the music. It's not, it really does refocus all of this. And I just got off the phone with, actually, someone that you just interviewed, Mike Bond, is a pianist that I highly respect, and is actually playing tonight at my session. And he was asking me about the details, like, how are we making this work? And I said, we're going to make it work. We'll make it work until the crowds don't come and the venues don't, if it's not working for the venues and it's not working for the crowds and it's not working for us, we'll stop. But until then, I'll keep making music. So that's where we are. I feel it's just reminded me that this is essential to who I am. It's not like, I can pick or choose whether I'm a musician or not.
Well, and that's the one thing I think I realized, too, about the jazz profession specifically, is that the idea of jazz is that you're thrown into a situation where you're going to create something once, okay? And that's the hallmark of it. And there's a lot of ambiguity that already goes into being on stage. You know the outcome's going to sound good, and you know the crowd's going to love it, but you're still going in under a cloud of ambiguity. This is what I thought. Maybe jazz was designed for this moment of total uncertainty and of total creativity on the spot that will happen once and that will just be that. And I think with that in mind, maybe jazz musicians are going to be the best equipped to regurgitate this creatively once the dust settles.
I like what you're saying, and I see that in the musicians I'm surrounded by, and like what I've come to about this is that it's about music, and I don't really have a choice. I think that when it's not that you choose jazz, it's that jazz chooses you, and I'm not sure people. I wouldn't be surprised if some very, very positive things come out of this for the industry as a whole. But I do still think it's kind of like saying that there's an extinction and that maybe there are other species that will come in and have that, be able to better use the environment. I do think that this is going to be a very, very difficult time as well, that we're in, just because of the lack of support and the political environment and everything. So I'm I like to try to focus on the good things, and I do think if anybody could create art in a time of repression and danger and pandemic, it's jazz musicians. But I do still think that, it is still a very delicate situation, and that we all need to be very clear-minded about staying positive and building lives that make sense in this time, which is difficult and not always easy to see. Wow, we're deep. We got deep really fast.
Yeah, it sure did. Well, let's talk about your beginning. Talk to me about your childhood and how music became your life.
Well, I'm kind of a late bloomer. I didn't start really making music full time until after I was 40, and I always had music was kind of dancing around the edges of what I did. I started as a visual artist. I went to school for photography, and I think that that's actually been a very strong influence in my music. I've always had the idea that I wanted to create pictures and create a complete vision with my music. And a lot of the artists that I talk to a lot of singers who probably grew up on hearing Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald every day. I had a kind of an unusual, eclectic bunch of music that I grew up with from traditional country, like Patsy Cline, songstresses like Joe Stafford, and then I listened to a lot of new wave and punk and alternative rock growing up, and a band like the Talking Heads was really key for me. Again, a very visual band, and so I think I come from a slightly different perspective than a lot of jazz singers, and I'm really happy that this last album, this is my first album with originals, and I feel like I finally have a platform where I can combine the visual aspects of what I'd like music to look like, and what I'd like it to sound like, and I'm finally giving a voice to my own songs, which was a big thing for me.
Right on. One thing I do want to ask, I don't know if there's anything with your mic or what's going on. It's almost like your sound's kind of coming in and out.
Really?
I'm not. Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
but
shoot.
It's okay.
I don't. Well, do you want to redo this or?
No, we're good. It's going to work. It just seems like it's a little bit like you're kind of going far away and then you're coming back in, and I didn't know if that was something that we could remedy or.
No, I think it might be. I've got my ear right to the phone, and I'm not using earbuds or anything like that, so I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay. It's going to work. We'll make it work totally. It's all good. So let me ask you this.
I'm happy to. Yeah, I'm happy to redo it if you need me to, and I can get to like a landline or something. I can go back to the 1990s and find a landline for you.
Oh no, it's good. We're good. And that's the thing I think about this is that with these interviews that are happening during this time, there's just some things that are just kind of, we're all kind of in a precarious place, so to speak. So it's all good. So let me ask you this: what do you like the best about being a musician?
I like the people. I like being surrounded by like-minded, creative people. I like the creation of it. I've done both. I've been a musician and I've been not a musician. So I'm very, very grateful for the creative energy around and the people that are drawn to it.
What about jazz specifically? Talk to me about why you love jazz.
So it's sort of unlikely that I got involved in jazz in the first place because, like I said, I grew up listening to more of rock and alternative and pop music and new wave music. In my late teens, I was introduced to, again, here's a visual and auditory experience. I saw the movie Let's Get Lost about Chet Baker and fell in love with his music, and then found other artists, just kind of went down the wormhole with some great local record stores and started to get into other singers and jazz musicians from that album and from that movie. I also had the really wonderful pleasure of getting to hear some great jazz, like world-class jazz as a kid. I would sneak into a place called Ortlieb's Jazz House that was here in Philadelphia. And on a Tuesday night, I'd sneak in to take pictures with my photo teacher. And on a regular Tuesday night, you'd have Shirley Scott on organ or piano and Mickey Roker on drums. And that was like a normal Tuesday night. I thought that's just what jazz sounded like on a Tuesday in a little bar in Philadelphia. So my standards were set so high from an early moment. Like I didn't suffer any fools when it came to music. And I'm so grateful to still be surrounded by giants like that. I get to work with and have been produced by Orrin Evans, who's a Philadelphia, he wasn't born here, but he's a Philadelphia local now. And I'm just surrounded by amazing talent in Philadelphia. I think I was just drawn to the people and drawn to the honesty of the American Songbook as just a great source for expressing emotion. So that's how I guess that's how I got to jazz.
Right on. So we are going to get to the end of COVID-19. Talk to me a little bit about what you hope both the musician and the audience realizes from this time away from live music.
That we need to support, as musicians, we need to support each other. We need to support each other's endeavors. We need to support each other's projects. As audience members, they need to support the musicians that bring them joy. They need to support it in the form of going to their Bandcamp page and buying the music and paying a little more even maybe. You can't just, tell somebody you heard their song on Spotify and that's right. It's not. It's not enough. Your favorite musicians will be, starving as you, play their music on repeat. It's that there has to be a connection with the audience, and that audiences need to understand that they need to in some way pay. And I don't necessarily even mean money. Like, if you don't have the money but some friends who would enjoy the concert, it's a free it's free music outside, and you think your friends would come and pay, even if you couldn't. Tell your friends. Support the artists that you love. I'm hoping that freedom I talked about, that the lack of touring takes away. I hope a lot of people try a lot of new music that maybe wouldn't be right for the road, but is right for their souls and right for me at this time. And, different types of genres connecting that maybe you couldn't figure quite out how that would play at the Blue Room in Kansas City, if that's still there. But you really want to work with an artist and go and do it. I'm hoping that, after COVID, there's more of a cross-genre support in music.
Right on. So my final question to you is this. Everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, and your fans, but you're living your life. Who do you think you are?
I'm a mother, and I'm an artist, and I'm someone who can go back and forth between being completely sure of her path and then completely lost, like a lot of us are. And I'm driven to create, and it shapes a lot of my life. And I'm hoping to make a difference. And I'm just really grateful to be surrounded by the people who are so supportive. My family and my music family. I'm very grateful for their generosity of time and spirit and music. And with that, I hope we all get through this and see some better days very soon.
Right on. That's a great answer, a great way to wrap everything up. Michelle, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for your time. Stay safe. Good luck with all of the new material. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You asked such really wonderful questions, and I appreciate my time with you.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest singers in Philadelphia, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Michelle for her time, class, and music. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.